because we're starting to come into our summertime here. And I was like, man, is it the fall yet? Is it October? Because I'm ready. I'm not over this heat already, and it's not even that hot outside. And one guy looked at me, he was like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "This isn't even the worst of it yet." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I just I like the fall and the springtime. That's like the perfect time
Same.
for me." So, but excited to have you here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We have Chloe Styler joining us here today, all the way from Queensland, Australia. How's everything going with you?
Yeah, going really good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. It's been a trying couple of weeks, just kind of going through some personal stuff and just kind of trying to get my head on right. And, you know, Saturday I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm good. Let's keep it moving. I took like a week and a half where it was just kind of like, I need to take some time for me, get myself straight. And then Friday night, I went and had some fun. Saturday, I woke up. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Let's go. So,
I'm good.
yeah.
Okay,
It was,
good. That's a great headspace to be in.
oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't know why when I go out drinking, I wake up the next day and I just feel fine and I'm ready to go. But I can't turn it
Yeah.
into a habit because that's just like not a good look. But, it is what it is. So, excited to have you here. So, um, you're from Queensland, or you're born raised in Queensland?
Yeah, so I was born on the Gold Coast in Queensland and I've lived here my whole life. I have lived in Brisbane for a little bit. I did university up there, but yeah, born and raised Queenslander.
Nice, nice, nice. I keep telling myself I'm going to come out to Australia soon, and if I keep saying it, I'll make it happen. So,
Yeah, just say it into existence.
right. The only issue is because Australia is so spread out, and it's like everybody's like, "Oh, fly into Sydney and you'll be fine." And it's like, yeah, I fly into Sydney. I still need to get to Brisbane. I still need to get to Melbourne. Not so much Adelaide anymore because for whatever reason we had a really strong thing in Adelaide, but that's kind of fallen apart in recent times. But it's all kind of spread out. And thankfully, I don't have a whole lot of connections in Perth, or otherwise I'd be a whole different situation. It's like that's a whole different trip. So,
Yeah. Yes,
but
it is. It actually, a fun fact, it's quicker to get to New Zealand from my place in
mhm.
Queensland than it is to get to Perth.
Huh.
So it's quicker to get to a whole other country
Yeah,
than it is to get to the other side of Australia.
that's man. That and I know America's big. And like we have the
Mm.
same issue here in America when people come over. It's like, hey, I'm gonna be in LA. How far from LA are you? Oh, so I'm about 22 hours from LA. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the same issue, but um, it's an interesting dilemma to kind of be in. So growing up in Queensland, who introduced you to music? Was it kind of something your family was always into, or where's that kind of come into play?
Yeah, my parents played a lot of music around the house. They took me to my first concert when I was 5. So I was just immersed in music from a really young age. And when I was in junior school, so primary school, think I was in grade 1, I got put into piano lessons, and the rest is kind of history from there because I just fell in love with it, and mum and dad just nurtured that within me, which is really special. And I'm very grateful for that.
Nice, nice. What was that first concert that you went to?
It was an Australian country artist. His name is Lee Kernaghan, and he's just incredible, an incredible musician, incredible performer. So to have that as my first taste of live music is pretty cool because I've, followed through with the country love and stuck with it while I've done my own music. So maybe that had something to do with it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Would you say he was one of your first influences, or was that just kind of who happened to be your first concert?
I'd say a bit of both. Growing up, my parents played a lot of of their favorite music around the house, as well as country music, but they played a lot of Fleetwood Mac, a lot of the Eagles. That really cool kind of music
Mm,
was just always playing through the CD
yep,
player. And so I had that as an influence, but then I also had people like Lee Kernaghan and other Australian artists like Casey Chambers
yeah,
that are really doing amazing things in the country world as an influence as well. So I drew upon all different genres when I was coming through, my teenage years writing music and figuring out what I wanted to sound like, which I think is pretty cool because like that's such a wealth of knowledge that my parents just thrusted upon me, which was really, really awesome.
yeah. That explains when I was listening. I've been listening to your music for the last few days now. It just like consistently like trying to get myself ready, and I was trying to figure out. Like I definitely picked up the country aspect of it, but I was like, man, there's like this classic rock feel to some of these
Hmm.
songs, and I was trying to figure it out. And then the second you said the Eagles and all that, and I was like, yep, that's
Yeah.
100% what it is. So
Yeah, that's really cool that you picked that up. Thank
yeah,
you.
it's one of the, have you ever been in that situation where you hear something and you recognize it, but you can't put your finger on it, like what this sound is, but you've heard it before?
Absolutely. All
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. Um, so going through all that, when did you kind of start exploring your musical abilities as far as like writing and all that stuff?
So I was gifted a guitar for my 13th birthday,
Mhm.
and I had never played a guitar before in my life, but I knew that I loved that singer-songwriter vibe. I loved that kind of music. That was when early Taylor Swift records were out, and I just was obsessed with all of that. So I asked for a guitar for my birthday, and then I just taught myself on YouTube how to play chords and wrote my first song about 2 years later when I was 15, which was really bad, to be so honest. It was not good, but I don't think they're meant to be good when you're just first starting out. But I, stuck with it. And here I am years later, having written so many other songs that hopefully are better than that first one. But yeah, it's interesting because I never really tried to write on the piano at the start because I'm fully trained on the piano. There's my keyboard behind me. Um, but I just was always drawn to writing on a guitar for whatever reason, probably the country influence as well.
Yeah,
And it's a lot easier to travel around with a guitar than it is with a keyboard.
yeah, fair, very fair. It's that's kind of always an interesting question because I feel like the like a keyboard piano versus like a guitar kind of tells me what kind of creative you are. Like if you're more drawn to like writing on a piano, it's very to me now this is just kind of how I perceive things, but it tells me that you're kind of analytical where okay, if I press this button, I'm going to get this sound. Or if I press these three buttons, I'm going to get, it, and it's very not paint by numbers, but it kind of the same premise. Whereas a guitar, there's a certain feeling, there's a certain like fluidity. Like if you hit a G chord, but if you hit it a certain way, it sounds a little bit, and there's like a certain freelance with writing on a guitar. So that's kind of something that I've started picking up recently. And it's really cool that that the guitar is like how you like to write. So,
Yeah, it is. And I have been dabbling in writing on the piano lately,
mm-hmm.
but I find that I get a very different song, which
Mm-hmm.
is not a bad thing. It's just a completely different song. And probably um, I wouldn't have gotten that if I tried to write it on the guitar, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So right, when did you start? I guess the question I want to ask is, when did you start releasing music? How was it during the pandemic, or because it's so weird? Like the pandemic's been 4 years now, so
I know. I was actually only thinking about that the other day. I was shocked when I realized 4 years ago, and next year will be 5 years
yeah,
since it all began.
yeah,
So I released my first debut EP. I hadn't released any singles. I just dropped an EP. I didn't really know what I was
Yeah.
doing, to be
Yeah.
so honest. I dropped an EP when I was 20. So that
Okay.
was 2017.
Okay.
And yeah, I actually removed it offline. I took it down. I still have some physical copies in my house, but I've actually sold out of all of the ones that I was selling, which is pretty cool. And I kept two for me
Sure.
just to have. But I'm really proud of those songs, but I have definitely seen how I've grown since then, hence why I took it down offline.
Now, did you
Yeah.
take it down because of what the songs were about, or because of the your ability as a musician?
I think more my ability as a musician
Okay.
and how I want to be perceived by
Fair.
an
Yeah.
audience. So when you go to my Spotify account, obviously it's a resume in a sense, and it's everything that I've ever done. And those songs, although I love them dearly and I'm so proud of them and I'm proud of who I was at 20 to write those songs, they didn't really sound like who I am anymore. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to confuse people.
Fair. Fair.
Yeah.
Very fair. And that's obviously a very hit or miss subject, because like some people feel a certain way about, just leave all your music up there and people kind of see the growth, and then it's like sometimes you go through like genre changes, and it's like, yeah, I don't want people to know that I was like this kind of artist before I became a big country, like, and whatever the situation is. But have you
Yeah.
ever thought about going to revisit some of that early music and kind of reformat it
Yeah.
for?
This year, actually, the last few months, I've been listening to the songs again. I have them in my Dropbox, and sometimes I just find myself really craving listening to those songs. So never say never. They may actually have a comeback and I might put them back online. But I don't know. There was just a time there where I didn't feel like they resonated with me. So I thought the best thing was to remove them. But now who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe they're resonating again and they'll
Yeah.
get another life.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I've done similar stuff. Like, so I do a lot of obviously with Live and Amplified, it's the podcast and a bunch of video content. But before this, I did like short films and stuff like that. And I had put all my short films up on YouTube, and I had a bunch of like different types of content on the YouTube channel that I run. And when I started Live and Amplified, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take all this content down, because music fans and people that support music and musicians don't necessarily want to see a short film about eating pie, or a short film about this, or a short film about that, or a web series that I made called Rants by a Drunken Butthole. Just like all these different things that I used to do. I was like, people don't want to see that, so I took it down. And now I tell people about like just how random some of the stuff I created, and they're like, "Can I watch it? Where can I watch it?" It's like, "Oh, I took it down. I don't have it any like, and it just doesn't exist anymore." And so, yeah, but
Yeah, I did
that's
that with my YouTube channel. I had all these covers from when I was in high school that I'd uploaded, and I didn't delete them. I just
yeah,
hid them and made them private.
yeah,
So I was watching back through them not long ago as well, and oh, I, I am so glad they don't exist on the internet anymore because
man,
they're not very good.
fair, very fair. I get that. It's one of those things, but I think I don't know. Like I'm torn between it. Like sometimes I wish I would have kept that stuff up, but now like looking back on it, it's like, yeah, it's probably good play that it's not there anymore. It doesn't exist. So yeah, I
It
100%
can
get it.
it can live in your mind.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Um, so you just dropped a new song 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. It was in April. I know that much, right?
Yes.
Uh, I was sitting here, I was like, wait a minute, when did the song drop? Oh no, my brain is gone. You got a new song that just dropped, 25. What's kind of the story behind it?
25 was written about being 25. I was at that age when we wrote the song. I wrote it with two friends, Kaylee Bell and Gavin Carfoot. And at that time, I was feeling really lost in life. I didn't really know what I was doing or where I was going. It sounds really dramatic, but when when you're at school and you're always around your peers, you're hitting the same milestones at the same age as them. So you're probably getting your driver's permit at the same age. You're probably, you go to your first ball or dance or what prom, yeah,
Yep.
at the same age. And you're hitting all the same milestones. You graduate at the same age. You get probably your first boyfriend or girlfriend at the same age. But then you graduate and it's a free for all, and everybody's doing things differently. I know within a year of my graduation, there was someone that got engaged and married. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like this is real life now. And by the time I reached 25, I I just really felt like I was falling behind in comparison to people I knew that were buying a house or
Mm.
getting married or having a baby. And, chasing this music dream is a little bit different than all of
Hmm.
that. And, you put things on hold a little bit longer than other people. And yeah, that's where I was in my headspace when we wrote the song. And I just thought it was because I was 25. But now in retrospect, that just continues to happen forever. No matter your age, you'll continue to feel this way at certain points in your life. And goalposts are going to shift and move, but you just have to remember to stay true to you and do your own thing, and everything will work out as it's meant to. So that's the premise of the song, just trusting in whoever you want to trust in, and put your
Hmm.
faith in something that you believe in, and let it all just play out how it's meant to.
Yes, absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better. I'm 36, about to turn 37, and I've gone through several different iterations of everything you just described, where it's like, oh, well, my best friends are all married with kids, and I'm not, and I'm missing out. My sister gets married, she has a kid, and my sister's 3 years younger than me. Oh, and just like all these, you see all this stuff going on around you, but then you got to kind of remind yourself, no, I'm on my own path. I see where I want to
Yeah.
go. It's over here. Everybody else is over there. Like this is where I'm going. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's
And
good. Sorry.
sorry. I was just going to say it can be a little bit lonely and a bit scary as well if you're trying to forge your own path in comparison to, say, your sister or your friends. And um, that's where self-doubt creeps in, and you second guess what you're doing. But um, yeah, if you just remember and try to remind yourself that, no, I'm doing my own thing and everything will work out, then maybe, like, for me at least, I can go to sleep at night, because sometimes I can't sleep at night because I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm so off the beaten track right now compared to my friends. But um, everyone's just doing their own thing. And, they might have a baby, but they might be thinking the same thing. They might
Mm.
be wishing for something else, but you never know.
Yep, 100%. And I think that's why the song really resonated with me. When I was driving to work this morning, I I turned up I just went to your Spotify profile and I was just like, okay, just play all your songs. Just like because it's a 20-minute
Thanks.
drive to work. So I was just like, okay, play all the songs. And I listened to 25 3 times
Mm.
on the way to work because I just kept listening to it and I would pick something up and I'm like, wait a minute, let's listen to that back. I'd finish the song and then go back to it because obviously driving, I'm not gonna like sit there and try and figure out what it was I just heard. I'm gonna just kind of go back and see if I pick it out again. And it is just one of those songs that it just hits like it just
Oh,
hit me like right here, and I love it so much. So
thank you.
yeah.
That means a lot, because when I wrote it, I felt like it was something important to say,
Mm,
because if you listen to the rest of my back catalogue, it's
mm,
usually about a boy and someone that's hurt my feelings. And then writing 25 it felt like growth, and it
mm.
felt important, and it felt like I got something off my chest.
Yeah,
But then releasing it last month, I was actually really nervous because
really.
it felt, yeah, it felt almost, and this is probably just like my own issues that I need to unpack, but it felt like a little bit dramatic because I was like, oh, people are going to listen to this and be like, it's really not that deep. But it is, because when I
Mm.
play it live and I explain that story behind it, it gets the most reaction because
Yep.
everybody's felt that at some point or another. So thank you for sharing that with me, and
Yeah.
for appreciating it, because it means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And then when I got home, because I had like a 3 hour window between when I got off of work and us sitting down here, I was like, you know what? Let's start looking at your YouTube and, like all that stuff. And I found the music video for 25. Well, I mean, it wasn't that hard to find. Like I type in Chloe Styler and like a whole bunch of stuff pops up. So it wasn't like I was diving through the
Digging.
depths. I wasn't digging through the depths of YouTube here, but, and I started watching it, and I may or may not have a critique video coming out tomorrow about the music video. May or may not. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness, I'm
it,
scared.
it's one of those, since I did film for so many years, it's like I was trying to find something different and unique I could do. And I was like, critiquing independent music videos. That's what I'll do. So
Perfect.
I may or may not have one of those dropping tomorrow at 10 a.m. US Central Standard Time.
I won't be watching out for it.
And one of the things I may or may not have said was, I love how all your music videos have a certain style to it. Like they're all pretty, at least I watched two and then I started watching. Do you have, how many music videos do you have out?
I think I have four now.
Okay. So I watched
Yeah.
two and then I started watching a third one.
Yeah.
I was sitting there, I was just like, okay. And there's a really cool style that you have, like a really, like an updated film look, it almost feels like. And it I just love that there's like a certain consistency across your music videos. That's
Thank you. That means a lot because my sister actually filmed the 25 music video, and that's not her job. Like she doesn't do
okay.
that. She's just always been a good photographer. So I was like, well, I've got no money and I need someone to film a music video for me. And she nailed it. So I'm really
Yeah.
proud of her. And then with the editing, that's when I get that style
Yeah.
in there with that old film vibe, because it's
Yep.
fun and it's
Yeah.
visually interesting. So I'm glad you caught that.
Oh yeah. Are you the one editing the music? You have your sister shoot 'em, or no?
No, I don't put me in the editing room because I'd
Okay.
be really bad at it. But my sister filmed 25, but then we sent all the footage to an editor. Her name is Jasmine Smith, and she is incredible. And she edited. You probably watched Time Bomb, which came out earlier this year, and
Yep.
you may have also watched Hometownless, which Jasmine edited those as
Yes.
well. So it's all the same style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there, I was like, it was 25, um, maybe hometown list, but it was definitely time bomb because I remember like the intro, it was like or the logo or whatever it was a very 70s feel, which was kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's
And
Time Bomb.
then I'd stepped while it was like halfway through, I had to go get some water. I had to go take care of something. There was an alarm over here going off. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go make sure my house isn't burning down, make sure I didn't leave like the oven on or something. And then I walked back over and I was like, wait a minute, I don't think this is the same music video, but yeah. And then it ended up being hometownless. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool that you picked that up. And
yeah,
it's actually something that keeps me up at night because I'm very into marketing and branding and um consistency as
yes.
well. But it's really hard to be present in that
Mhm.
as well because I'm always thinking about the next song and I'm like, is this even consistent? Like I don't even know anymore. So
Yeah,
thank you. I'll
yeah.
sleep tonight.
No, that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. It's just because I really love like I, this sounds like a really weird way to say it, but like a modern old film look is kind
Yeah,
of
same.
the best way I can describe it. It's a little gritty. It's a little, you know, a little old school. It's a little new school. So it's just, that's how when I was making films, that's the style I went with. So
Cool.
yeah. Um, so 25 is out now. It's up on Spotify. You can watch the music video up on YouTube and all that fun stuff. Where's kind of your focus at right now? Are you looking at like live, continue playing like live shows, or are you working on the next single, or where's your focus at right now?
Yeah, so this year is a year of lots of music. I am independent and I'm self-managed, and I set a task for myself, which is proving very difficult to remain sane while carrying it out,
Yeah.
is release a song every 6 to 8 weeks this year. And so far, so good. Time Bomb came out first in February. Then I think it was 6 weeks later or 7 weeks later, 25 came out.
Mm.
And later this month, I'm very excited to be releasing another song called Read a Room, which will be out on May 31st. So I have that coming out. And when that comes out, I'll actually be in Nashville. So I'm heading overseas in a couple of weeks.
Wait, are
And
you
I'm
coming
going to
for
be in
CMA Fest?
I'm not performing, but I'm coming over for that a month
Okay.
around CMA Fest. Yeah.
I have to send an email to Anna to see if they're doing anything for CMA Fest, but I'll be in town. So I'll have to
Awesome.
put a pin in that. We'll talk off camera or off
Yeah,
stream.
cool.
So
Yeah.
good. Sorry. So
No, no, don't be sorry at all. So yeah, I'm traveling to Nashville in 2 weeks. My floor of the room that we're currently sat in is a mess because I'm packing and I don't know what to take because it is really hot that time of year. And then while I'm in Nashville, Read a Room will come out. Then while I'm there, I'll be writing and recording and building up a back catalogue of new music to release from next year because the producer I work with is based in Nashville. So that's really difficult when I live in Australia. But
yeah.
then the rest of the year, there's a few more songs to come out, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it because I love these songs, and I'm loving the process of being consistent with releasing new music. It's a lot of work. It's
Mhm.
constantly meeting deadlines and getting things done and uploading things from my distributor, etc., etc. But I'm noticing a real connection forming with people online and listeners around the world. So I think it's working, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah. It like when I was first introduced to you, because I think Anna sent me it had to be a PR press release for 25. That's almost what it had to be.
Yeah.
Um, and I started looking into everything you had going on, and just man, it just your music drew me to you. I had to have you on the podcast, so I'm glad we're sitting
Thank
here
you.
chatting now. And but just looking at the analytics, like, because I'm a very analytical person, like I'm very interested to see like what's driving people to come watch certain things or where they're coming. Like, I don't know what it is about that stuff that I like, but like when somebody shows me analytics, like I'm right
You're
here.
interested.
I'm always interested. And so like I started diving in a little bit as much as I can, just that's freely available on the web and whatnot. And just, man, what you're able to do and all the attention you have going right now is absolutely amazing. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really proud of the 25 music
yeah,
video because I don't do any like YouTube ads
yeah,
or any budget for ads on YouTube, but
yeah.
the clip has nearly 13,000 views, and I've had comments from people in India and Mexico and Norway and just global.
Yeah.
It's truly like blown my
Like,
mind because I just uploaded it. I didn't even like put much thought into the release in the sense of like promoting it. I just was
mhm.
like, this song needs to come out, the video needs to be uploaded on YouTube, submit.
Yeah,
And then it's doing its own thing. And
yeah.
so that's really cool to see those analytics. I also love
Oh, yeah.
analytics, so I get it. Yeah.
And just a little something that you may look into, you may have to talk to your editor friend to help you out with this one. But
Mm.
taking your music videos and cutting them into verticals for like YouTube Shorts and TikTok
Yeah.
and Instagram and stuff like that, that especially 25, that song will crush on TikTok if you cut it into a vertical video. So
Yeah. Thank you. I'll get in. I'll start emailing.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like people, it's, you have to format everything so differently for it, but it
Mm.
works. Like I've seen so many cool things happen. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you've just got to do. You just got to
Yep.
be on the socials. Mm.
Yep. 100%. Speaking of socials, what's your favorite social media platform right now? Are you more Instagram? You more TikTok? Where are you kind of at?
Definitely as a content creator, I love Instagram. That's
Yeah.
where I feel most comfortable. But as a consumer, I love TikTok. It's just so funny. And I'm always finding something funny on TikTok or a new person to listen to, etc. But I I don't know if you've been on my TikTok. I do make TikToks, but
Yeah.
I just make random videos. Like I pick up my phone and I just say whatever's on my mind. And
Yeah.
usually those are the ones that do really well. But if I'm trying to promote a song, the algorithm hates me and doesn't push it out to the For You page. But if I'm just saying something really random, it gets hundreds of thousands of views. So I'm just like,
That's,
I'm just going to
yeah.
use TikTok as FaceTime
Yeah.
essentially with a best friend and then use my Instagram as my promotional
Fair.
tool in my CV,
Fair.
if you know what I mean.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny because TikTok, it seems like if you try too hard on TikTok, you're not going to get anywhere. But like the more off the cuff or like the obscure stuff seems to do really well. Like I did
Yeah.
I had or about 2.5 years ago, I had one TikTok that was starting to grow quite a bit. And I did a video talking about an experience I had on tour with a punk band. So we were doing a documentary with a punk band, and there was a very dangerous situation that unfolded. And I was, it was a whole thing. And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to tell that story on TikTok. Yeah, so
Mm.
I did my thing. I cut it into like a 90-second video and just threw it out there, and it started getting like 20,000 hits a day for like 2 weeks
Yeah.
straight. And then the people that it was about, or that like it didn't shine a certain group of people in a positive light, they started getting pissed off at me. And it's like, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean it like that. I was just like, this was like,
Uh, yeah.
it wasn't meant to be taken like, oh, I don't like this group of people, but it did. And I was just like, okay, taking this video down, taking
Oh,
all my TikTok stuff down. I'm not messing with TikTok anymore. I ain't doing it. And
yeah.
then I was like, dang it, I let them get the best of me. I should have
Dang it.
just let it be what it was and then kind of move
Mm.
on. So, it is.
TikTok is a hard one. Yeah, I find people are very brutal on TikTok in comment sections. You
Mm-hmm.
can, like, I posted something the other day and I have no problem with people like say what you want to say. I'm
Yeah.
not going to delete your comments, I'm not going to block you or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. I'll cop it. But some people are just very opinionated on that
Yeah.
app and really just don't care and they
Yeah.
will just post whatever they want. And I don't find that on TikTok, on Instagram, at
Yeah.
least on my account.
Yeah.
I don't really do reels like I do on TikTok.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is an interesting app where people
Right.
are very, very open and honest about how they feel about your video or what you've said
Oh yeah.
or someone literally called me just dumb the other day about something which maybe I am dumb. That's fine. Go for gold. Tell me that. But it was just like,
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't comment something like that, but that app people do. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would take down a video if I felt really uncomfortable with the
Yeah.
comment section. So I
Well, and
understand what you were going through.
it was more than a little bit more than that because it started seeping over into my professional life. Like I
Mm,
started seeing some of these things seep over into like it wasn't work related stuff, but it was getting very close to like work related stuff. And I'm like, yep, gotta
too
end this one.
close.
Gotta end this one
Yeah.
right now. We just can't let this one fly. Like it was
Yeah.
starting to get a little too close to home. And I was just like, it's not worth it. Like, yes, I love live and amplified, but if I lose my day job because of something I said, I'm not
Yeah.
going to be happy. So
No.
yeah. But no, it's so funny. The comment sections on social media are just like I have the same interactions over on YouTube. Like some of those comments are just downright brutal. Like those people do
Nasty.
they don't hold back.
No. And like,
It
that's okay, free speech, but geez, like if you're on the receiving end,
yeah.
it's not pleasant. And
Yeah.
luckily I've never really been on that receiving end, but I've seen comment sections of creators on TikTok that are just brutal.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you got to have a thick skin to be on
Oh
social
yeah.
media these days.
Oh yeah. I was told this story yesterday on the podcast. I had a Friday night. I was just like really in the bin, and I was just like, man, I was really down about something, and was taking a beating all week from a video that I had posted. It was I started doing like news style clips of like in the music industry, like, oh hey, so and so is getting married, or so and so just announced a new residency, like whatever like a
Yeah,
topical
cool.
news story is. And I posted something that wasn't so positive, and for like a week and a half straight, people were just like, well, there's the news media for you, spreading more
Uh.
and just like all this stuff. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not even the news media. But then Friday night, I was sitting there and I saw this comment pop up that I had gotten a new comment on a video. I was like, man, I don't know if I can handle one more negative comment. I just can't deal with this right now. And so I went to bed, woke up Saturday morning, I read the comment, and it was just some dude like, hey man, really like your videos, try
Oh,
this. And he gave me like a helpful critique. He's like, I like what you're doing here, but maybe try and add in more pictures and try and just kind of gave me some advice. And I was like, huh,
yeah.
okay, so
That's nice. Yeah,
yeah.
and the internet and social media is a wonderful tool. And if there's like you because you can learn
Yeah.
from people and also through like search engines and stuff, but there is so much knowledge out there that you can learn through social media. So when people are kind, like that guy that
Yeah.
left that nice comment, that's that's worth it. That's worth being on social media and
Yeah.
putting yourself out there for critique because constructive criticism is never not wanted. It's something that is going to help. So that's a nice comment to be left.
Yeah. And I think what threw me off was his username was like Mr. Negative or Mr. Negative one. Like it was something like that. And I'm like, oh dear God, here we go. Okay. And then I read it and I was like, huh. Yeah. So cool. Um, and then so you'd mentioned that you're also working on another music video for the new song coming out at the end of the month. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yes. Yeah. So Read a Room, I have done a new music video for that. It's more a visualizer.
Okay.
And that will be coming out with the song on release day. That's all done. But I'm
Okay.
filming next week for another song that will be coming out in July.
Okay.
And my sister is filming it again, which is exciting. So she's feeling a little bit more confident than she was on the 25 music video shoot day because literally that was her first time ever doing something like that.
Yeah.
But we did the Read a Room one together last month and now we're doing another one. And 25 definitely was more of a music video. It
Hmm.
told a story, but Read a Room and this next one are more so visualizers. But
Hmm.
you just need that these days. You need that
Yeah.
content and something to draw people into listening to the song. So I'm excited for that. We're going to be doing that in a cafe in Brisbane, a really vibey, vintage looking cafe.
Mm.
So I'm excited to get that out and well, I'm excited to just film it first and then release it in July.
Nice, nice, nice. I will to give your sister her props and her credit. Some of those shot compositions on the 25 music video, I was jealous. I was sitting there, I was like,
Oh,
dang, I don't know if I would have ever came up with a shot like that. Like the shot what was it? The camera was Well, at first off, what threw me off was the steering wheel being on the other side of the truck. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I was like, and
Australian.
then I realized like, oh yeah, that's an American thing. That's definitely nothing I can control. But there was a shot where did you have the door open and then she shot it through the mirror? I'm trying to remember like
Yeah.
but it was like a shot of you through the mirror. And I don't remember if
Yep.
she was like in the car or from on
She
the
was in the car.
yeah.
Yeah. And I was outside leaning up against the car and she was shooting through the side mirror.
Yeah, there it was. And I
Yeah.
was just sitting there, I was like, that is such a cool shot. Like
Yeah.
it creates a depth of field and yeah, she's got if she ever wanted to do something like that, she's got a real talent. So
I'll tell her. Thank
yeah.
you. I'm very proud of her. She's pretty cool and I'm her biggest fan. So I think the more confident she gets, just the better it'll get. And she'll just want to keep doing it. And maybe she'll be my full-time content
Music
creator.
it's like coming on over to Nashville and she's like your vlog person and she yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, actually, I'm in Nashville soon and my
Mhm.
family's coming for a week. And my sister Amy, while she's there for the week, we're actually going to film a music video. So I have another
Nice.
song coming out in September, and it's kind of about Nashville and experiences I've had there.
Nice.
And we're filming there, so she'll be holding the handy cam around town, go down downtown, and just be little tourists filming. So
Hey,
we'll see what she gets up to.
nice. That's cool. That's really cool. I love that so much. So with all this music coming out this year, is it all building to like an EP or is it they're all kind of like their own separate projects?
This year, it's definitely just separate projects,
Okay.
just individual singles. The goal is to release an EP next year.
Okay.
I have a lot of music that I've been writing, and I really obviously want to like honor that and put them into a body of work. But it's just a matter of choosing the right songs to be on the same body of work, and B, figuring out whether that's an EP or an album. So I think it's probably an EP, and I'll be working with my producer over the next few months about all of that and figuring all of that out. But I'm still writing, so and I'm still living
Yeah.
experiences. So I I think the cool thing about being a songwriter is I could live something today that I haven't lived before, and then I get all these new songs about it. So I I'm very conscious of the fact that I don't want to just keep saying the same thing in
Mm.
my songs. And like again, if you've listened to my back catalog, it's about people that have hurt my feelings and boys that probably don't need songs, to be honest. But that I don't want to keep writing that, and I don't want to keep saying that over and over. So I have to find ways to to say different things, and that means living. So
Mhm.
I don't want
Yeah.
to preempt releasing an EP or an album if I haven't lived different
Mhm.
experiences yet.
Fair. And I love that so much. Like y finding that authentic connection with your music and drawing from experiences, not saying that people that have hurt you isn't an experience, but there's only so many times you can say, hey, you're a jerk, you hurt my feelings. And there's only so many different ways you could say it. Um,
Yeah.
but drawing from your experiences like 25, the feelings you were going through when you had this realization of, oh, my path isn't the same as, and just like all that stuff. And then just kind of drawing on experiences. I think that's the stuff that people are going to relate with. Yes, they'll still go listen to your other music when they're mad at their boyfriend or significant other or whatever, because that music has a place. But I think what's going to draw people in and keep people there are the experiential music where you're talking about like real things and
Yeah.
real feelings. And I'm really excited to see where that kind of takes you over the next 6, 9, 12, 18 months.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. I'm writing with some really great songwriters when I'm in town, which I'm really excited about because when you walk into a co-writing session, you never know what you're going to get. And
Right?
that's fun to me.
Yeah.
Like that's cool because you could either walk in, get a get a good song, but you might not release it, or you can walk in and you can find magic. Like Read a Room, which is
Mhm.
coming out at the end of this month. That was a co-write that I did in Nashville last year with Lauren McLam and Phil Barton. And that was my first ever Nashville co-write. And it was the best thing I've ever experienced because I just word vomited. And you could probably tell I can talk so much. I love talking, but I just word vomited for 45 minutes about being ghosted by this one guy and how he's really lucky I can read a room and not keep, knocking on
Mm.
his door if he doesn't want me to keep knocking.
Yeah.
And then Lauren just, a chorus just fell out of Lauren. And it was just the most amazing experience, truly,
Yeah.
to just witness that and be in that room. So I want to do more of that. I want to be in more co-writing sessions and learn from other writers and share lived experiences because that's where the magic is. That's where those real,
Yep.
honest, true, authentic stories come in that people really gravitate towards as a listener. So yeah, that's my goal for myself. Just push myself with my writing and try and say something different this year.
Yeah. Nice. I love it. Um, when you're what do you mainly reserve a lot of your writing for when you're in Nashville, or do you go to Nashville with stuff that's like maybe not completely written, but you know, like
Yeah,
almost written? Yeah.
I do a lot of writing by myself. Like I wrote a song last night.
Mhm.
The way I describe it is I can feel it sitting in my throat. It's really weird, but I know when there's a song in me that needs to come out. And last night there was a song, and then within half an hour it was out, and I was done. And I was like, okay, great, moving on. But when like for example, come to Nashville, that's where I do most of my co-writing. I do
Mhm.
co-writing in Australia. There's a few camps that we do here within my area. And I do a lot of Zoom writing with people as well. But I really love being in the room for a co-write. I
Yeah.
struggle with a Zoom co-write. So I do save some really fun ideas for when I'm in Nashville, like the hooky stuff
Yeah.
that I just know Nashville writers would eat up and they do
Yeah.
really well with. Um, but then with myself, like the song yesterday, that was just something I had to say. And I just had to get it out and put it down on paper. And the clarity that came out of that half an hour in my own brain was just next to nothing. So yeah, it's a bit of both. I use writing as therapy, to be honest. So if I'm going through it, you'll know because there'll just be lots of songs pouring out of me and then I'll feel better and I'll move on.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It's always kind of interesting to see what the writing process is because some people that during especially during the pandemic, they kind of thrived in either the solitude or they thrived in the more Zoom atmosphere, which for me, I don't really like you. I don't really like doing a whole lot of the Zoom stuff just because there's so many variables that you can't account for. Like the internet goes out and you can't hear anything I'm saying, just like all these different things.
Yeah.
Whereas in person, you get the vibe, you get the energy, you're all kind of experiencing the same thing in your own ways, but you're kind of all just like in it together. So, I definitely understand kind of where you're at on that one. So,
Yeah. One thing I do really love that I've been doing a lot more of lately is writing for other people with them.
mhm,
So that has been via Zoom and
mhm.
it seems to work. But yeah, occasionally the internet drops out and everyone freezes for 30 seconds and then they come back. But yeah, there's two artists in Australia that are releasing songs in the next couple of months that I co-wrote with them via Zoom. So
Nice.
that's really cool and something that I'm really proud of because although I love writing for myself and I love being an artist, I love helping people bring their stories into a
Nice.
song and
Yeah.
to life. So, um, yeah, that's something new for me. I've never had that happened before. I haven't had people release songs that I've co-written with them. So this is a new chapter, which is exciting.
Yeah, for sure. For how is the singer-songwriter like community? I mean, I guess I could say in Australia as a whole, but maybe more specifically just like Queensland.
Yeah, I can definitely speak for Queensland and Southeast Queensland. I'm on the Gold Coast and we have
Mhm.
a really thriving live music and music industry on the Gold Coast. It's been incredible to see the growth. We've been doing these things called the Gold Coast Music Awards for
Mhm.
9 years now. And I was a finalist for the first time in 2019. And then I was a finalist again last year. And to see the growth of the awards themselves, like in 2019, there was maybe 300 people there, if that, in a really small venue on the beach, actually, which is really cool. But then last year, it was sold out 1,000 people at the auditorium, like our arts center. So the growth is amazing and a testament to the scene and to the area as well, that we are becoming a place for artists to feel like they
Yeah.
can thrive and live in. Because historically in Australia, if you wanted to be a musician, you'd probably live in Sydney or Melbourne,
Yeah.
and because that's a bit more of where the live music scene is. But the Gold Coast and Brisbane are definitely holding their own at the moment, which is
Yeah.
really cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. It's I've had several different musicians of all different types, from like singer-songwriters to country to rock, just like all different stuff. And majority of them, yes, they're from Sydney or in like within a half hour of Sydney. They're kind of from that area. But some of my favorite conversations come from artists that are from Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, just like these outskirt areas. Well, not outskirt, but these other places that
Different,
aren't
yeah.
different. Yeah, there you go. And just kind of getting their interpretation of what their scene is doing is really cool. And I'm
Mm.
trying to get more musicians from Perth, but I feel like Perth is like that city where I may not necessarily make unless like
Yeah.
something just dramatic happens. But, you know, I guess never say never, right?
Yeah, Perth has amazing musicians, and
Hmm.
the music that's coming out of WA, Western Australia, Perth,
Yeah.
sorry, is really cool and exciting to see, because there's some big name Australian acts that live in Western Australia. I think one of the issues they face is costs of
Mm-hmm.
traveling, because it's very expensive to be in Perth and then
Hmm.
want to fly to the East Coast. So
Yep.
um, that would be
Yeah.
difficult
Yeah.
as an artist these days. But
Yeah.
um, if you do get a chance to talk to someone in Perth, I think they'd have some cool insight into
Oh yeah.
their community.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When I first started looking at coming over to Australia, one of the things I wanted to do, I probably won't do it, just at least in the current status of my financial life and all that stuff, because it was so expensive. I want to take the train ride from Eastern Australia over to Western Australia. There's like a really cool, what is it, like a 10-day train ride or something? And it was just like,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was just like, that'd actually be really cool. Like, get to see parts of Australia that very few people actually get to
That
see. Yeah.
Australians haven't even seen. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I've never done that train ride, but I've been to like very rural outback areas
Hmm.
of Queensland and the Northern Territory. And I have been to Western Australia. I've been to Perth once, but I've been up to like the north of Western
Hmm.
Australia to areas like Broome, and it's
Hmm.
beautiful. So
Yeah.
uh one thing I would recommend when you do ever make it to Australia is absolutely go to the places off the beaten track and
Yeah.
get to Uluru and get to the stunning like landmarks in
Yeah.
Australia, which may be a little bit hard to get to.
Yeah.
Um, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah. One of the biggest regrets was when I was in college. I was trying to set up like a study abroad like internship thing, and it was with a TV station out in Alice Springs.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
where
was just,
Uluru is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was like I I didn't know what Alice Springs was at the time because we're talking 15, 16 years ago at this time. So it's like we're talking pretty good bit away or bit of time ago. And and we couldn't get the visa worked out, so I never ended up going out there. But the first time I had somebody from Australia on, I told them that story, and they're like, "So have you seen all them stories about like the super deadly spiders and like all this stuff that'll kill you? That's Alice Springs." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh, okay, that's good. I'm
great.
glad. That's good to know." So, but no, I regret it because that would have been just uh, an experience that I would never forget. So, yeah,
But the beauty of that is you can always come to Australia at any point when you can
yes,
and head out to Alice Springs and see the spiders and the
yeah.
snakes and the scary things because there's a lot.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's like I mean I'm not too worried about it, but then again, I was talking to somebody. Oh, they're a rock band, but where are they based out? But anyways, one of the band members just moved over from England. And he was like, "Yeah, my first week here, I was sitting in the car and this giant ass spider came down off the ceiling and landed in my lap, and I didn't know what to do." And I was like, "Brother, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I wouldn't know either." So,
Yeah, that's nightmarish. I really don't like spiders,
yeah.
but I really don't like cockroaches.
Oh,
And I, for whatever reason, get cockroaches in my house, which is just not
yeah,
fun. So yeah, I'm the same as that guy. I would have freaked out if a
yeah,
spider landed on my lap.
yeah. Knock on wood, I haven't had cockroaches in a while, which mean my neighbors are clean, which great. I love
Good.
that. So,
Right.
and well, and also I haven't had new neighbors in a while. So that's also the thing. Like before, during the pandemic, I was getting new neighbors like every 6 months. And so it was just like, okay, what dirty place did they come in from? What cockroaches are they bringing over? All that stuff. But
Ooh.
luckily, recently, knock on wood, hasn't been an issue. So, but
Good.
so as we kind of wrap this up, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you said you got a couple of appointments and stuff to keep, but outside of music, what do you like to do? What are you into outside of music?
Okay. What do I do? It makes me realize that I don't have a life and all I do is spend all my time thinking, living, breathing music. But I have a dog. I have a 4-year-old dog, and she is the best thing in the world. So I usually take her to the beach or something fun like that because I
Yeah.
don't live far from the beach. I'm really interested in like fashion, but not
Mm,
in I'm a really fashionable person way, just in the sense that I'm always like looking at how I can style myself for a performance or for a music video.
yeah.
I do have a stylist that I work with for like the bigger budget music
Mm,
videos. But for example, like this music video I'm filming next week, I'm styling myself. So I'm shopping, which is fun. And yeah, I do Pilates every day. I'm trying to be better in a whole body sense,
yeah.
just to keep my mental health in check and like self-care a bit more this year than previous years
Fair.
is something that I'm prioritizing. So walking my dog, taking her to the beach, going to Pilates, shopping, retail therapy. That's a
Fair.
real thing.
Yeah. You know what though? I think like that's all well and good, and then with the music, I feel like once you kind of realize that the all the other stuff is going to help with your music. I like that's something that I realized was I thought like live and amplified was my other thing. And it's like, no,
Mm,
live and amplified's my life. I need to find something to step away from, like when my stuff,
yeah.
when I'm just like really dragging and I need to like take my mind off. So it's almost weird. You need to find a hobby for from your hobby.
Yes,
So,
I actually have been thinking of creating my own merchandise. So I do have some merch that
mm,
I have for sale, but I I would consider myself a creative person,
Mhm.
and I like to use my hands. So I want to create little friendship bracelets
Nice.
as merchandise. So even if I make them and they're really bad and I couldn't sell them, at least that's a hobby, like to keep myself creative, but different from
Mhm.
music itself. I'm not having to write a song or go into the studio. I can just sit down with some beads, put a TV show on, and create something with my hands, which is cool. But I'm yet to buy the stuff. So I need to I need to go to the shops and buy everything up. But that's a hobby I'm probably going to take up in the next few months.
Sweet. And I think it'll
Hmm.
be a lot of fun. It'll be
Yeah.
very I remember my sister and all her friends, they used to do that all the time back when they were kids and stuff like, well, I mean, yeah, back when they were kids. But
Yeah.
it's definitely something that I've been trying to figure, like something artistic, not maybe not friendship bracelets, but just like something that's like, okay, I can like physically do, because a lot of this is very visual and it's very
Hmm.
focus. Like I gotta focus when I'm doing something, trying to find a piece of artwork where maybe I can just kind of go with the flow and I don't have to necessarily have 100% of my focus on it, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Almost something brain numbing, for lack of a better word, like
Yeah.
something that you don't have to think and you
Yeah.
can just switch off, but still feel like you're achieving something. I don't know about you,
Yes.
but I
Yes.
always have to be achieving something. That's
Yes.
probably a problem. But yeah, I always have to feel like I'm doing something with my time. Otherwise, I feel
Mhm.
like I'm wasting my time. So I feel like
Yeah.
friendship bracelets will be a good middle ground
Yeah.
for me.
Yep. That was part of the issue last week, was I wasn't achieving anything, and I was just like, okay, this isn't fun.
Mm,
I don't, because
yeah.
if I don't have a podcast, then I don't have any. I'm missing like half the content I need to produce. That it's just like I don't know what to do. And then I started. I For a minute there last week, I thought I was going to become a professional napper. Like I was just like, all right, well, I've got 4 hours to kill. What do I do? I'm going to go take a nap, and then I would nap
Yeah.
and wake up, and it's 3 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, well, that wasn't a
Hmm.
nap. I just went to bed at 7 p.m. And just like
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, it was getting bad there for a little bit, but I love the idea of just kind of find something that I can turn my brain off, but still kind of fulfill the need to accomplish something. So
Yes,
uh,
definitely.
awesome. So if anybody wants to check out 25 or any of your other music or any of your new stuff or interact with you on social, where's the best place to find you?
For social media, definitely Instagram. So my handle is Hello Chloe Styler, which is LER. And for music, anywhere that you find music, so Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube, etc. I have heaps of music and music videos online, so go check it out.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I really appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you all later.